Welcome into the Cockpit, that interstitial show we do once every month, supposedly.
I mean, mostly once a month.
Yeah, it's fairly consistent, I would say.
Normally, we tend not to miss this one because it's the easier show to do.
Yeah,
It doesn't require watching a show multiple times and taking notes and...
Yeah. It does require me having topics to talk about or, like, having done anything in the span of a month.
It is quite interesting how much nothing you can accomplish in a month.
Right? But are we talking about me specifically or people in general?
¿Por qué?
Because if it's just me, it feels insulting. If it's a general outlook on human life and how we can squander away our days.
Oh no, I was referencing a commercial from the early 2000s with a small Mexican girl and being asked if she wants hard shell tacos.
Yeah. Except you didn't do it.
Yeah, because I don't know the rest of it because I don't speak Spanish.
¿Por qué no los dos?
¿Por qué no los dos? Yes, thank you.
Because all you said was why.
Yeah, it was a reference.
Yeah, sure, but all you said was why. It's hard to pick up a reference when you don't say the reference. If you're just like, hey, I referenced that thing, and you don't do the reference, I don't think you're referencing that thing. You're just saying, hey, there's a thing that you could probably say this was a reference to.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
There's this thing that I was referencing, ¿Por qué no los dos?
There you go. That is the reference.
But also, specifically you.
You know what? Fair enough.
I can't really talk, though, because this is one of those very few times where I also have very little to talk about.
I mean, you are on book 2 of the Stormlight Archive now.
Yeah.
That's like 70 plus hours of content you've consumed.
Don't put it that way. Don't do that to me.
I mean, I might be wrong, but I think the first book's like roughly 50 hours. I believe you're like halfway through the second, saying it's about the same. Might put you about 70, 75-ish hours. And you don't listen to books at more than one time speed, so you just robbed off that content.
Because I am a normal human. The first book is 45 hours and 30 minutes.
Okay.
The second book is 48 hours. And I have 16 and a half hours left.
Okay, so I was right. About 70 hours of content. And you got nothing?
I will concede that the series, that Stormlight is better than Mistborn. That's what I've got at this point for you. Honestly, it's hard to talk about the Stormlight Archive without like getting into spoilers instantaneously.
Right? You understand my pain and struggle. I've been like, there's this thing I really want to tell you about. And you have to understand how hard it's been to share the little bit I could with memes and jokes and just cool bits without spoiling fucking everything.
Look, Mistborn was very good. I listened to it 3 or 4 times before I ever started Stormlight.
Yeah.
The Stormlight's very good. I don't think I'll listen to Stormlight near as often as Mistborn.
Just because there's so much?
Well, also because Mistborn is easier to consume.
Yeah.
Stormlight has like a lot more political stuff going on, a lot more tangents and stories, like all tying into each other. Whereas Mistborn is much simpler, and like I think the difference is how I enjoy Hades and Hades 2 versus how I enjoy something like Witcher or Mass Effect.
Fair enough.
And what I mean by that is I can just put a couple hours into Hades and have a really good time.
Okay.
But Mass Effect or The Witcher require me to like dedicate like large sessions to them. And I feel like that's the difference between Mistborn and Stormlight for me. And that means Mistborn is still more of a comfort thing for me.
Fair enough.
Like how I once a year or so, once every year and a half to 2 years, reread the Twilight Saga because it's a comfort thing and it doesn't take any effort to do.
It takes no effort because it's not great. It's not super well written.
Yeah, I didn't. That's why it takes no effort. But obviously, between Smallville and Twilight, one of us enjoyed our torment more.
I did enjoy Smallville more.
No, because if you did, you would go back and watch Smallville again. But you have never done that. You've never went back and rewatched all of Smallville. I have went back.
Yeah, why would I? I've consumed it once.
I went back multiple times.
Look, Smallville takes more effort to consume than Twilight does. It's more complicated.
I don't think that's true.
I think it actually is. I think it actually does get more complicated than Twilight does. I'd say the first 4 seasons, yeah, you're probably right. It's not nearly as complicated as Twilight. But then they start to include other DC things, and they're trying to possibly put in backdoor pilots for other parts of the DC universe.
And none of those went anywhere.
Yeah, no. Hey, it's supposed to be getting another season, maybe. An animated season, but a season.
Are you going to watch the animated season?
Probably.
Are you one of the, 300 people, maybe, who have watched every episode of Smallville?
I am indeed.
And so, they're making it... If they make this animated series... If they make this animated season, it's, specifically made for you.
Yeah, especially if, and I mean, it has Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbaum attached to it already. Tom Welling was a great Clark Kent. most of the time, and Michael Rosenbaum was a delightful Lex Luthor, and because the show did it multiple times, I somehow wouldn't be surprised if they managed to yet again bring back John Glover as Lionel Luthor. Even though he's been gone from that show so many times.
God, I don't want to bog us down in the politics of it, but on Twitter, the hellscape, which we have something we need to talk about with Twitter towards the end of the show, but
okay.
On Twitter, the hellscape, I've seen two very different takes in regards to Superman and Trump politics.
Okay.
And I need to clarify how they're both wrong, and I need you to agree with me. The first one is Superman, being a farm boy from rural Kansas, would obviously vote for Trump.
No.
100% no.
No.
He's an illegal alien made by two Jewish creators, and
I mean, if we're not taking into...
He has a gay son who he openly supports.
I was going to say, if we don't take it into the context of his creations, we leave out the Jewish writers, we leave out the fact that he's an alien child brought to Earth, because he did grow up in rural Kansas. We'll leave that there. He still, on multiple instances, actively worked against the U.S. government because he disagreed with what they were doing. He's generally... nonpartisan, really, I would say, because there's one instance where he's talking with Reagan. Reagan, and he straight up tells Reagan, "Oh, I don't respect what you're doing." He doesn't say I don't respect. He respects what Reagan says. He's like, "I don't agree with what you're doing, but I'm gonna allow you to do it because you are the president. I trust you are trying to do your best. I don't happen to agree with what your best is targeted towards, but I think you're probably doing the best you can or working in what you think is the best manner. So I'll respect that. I don't agree with it." And then, he's actively been arch enemies with the president of the United States. So
there is no way that Superman would vote for Trump, right? That's just...
No, and then if we take the Smallville bit into account, there's literally a point he hides an illegal immigrant from the fucking federal government, and he gets in a fight with his mother about it, because he's like, I don't remember the kid's name. He's like, this kid needs me. He's trying to find his mom. And she's like, we have to tell people about it. He's illegal. And he's like, so forging my birth certificate wasn't illegal? And she's like, that was completely different. He's like, no, he's a kid who needs his parents.
Exactly, and Superman has openly fought against the Ku Klux Klan and against actual Nazis.
Yep,
both of which are openly supporters of Trump.
Yeah,
there's no way. Okay, the next Superman take that I've seen in regards to the recent election that I want your input on: Elon Musk and Donald Trump are effectively the same type of evil as Lex Luthor.
No. Lex Luthor...
They're worse, right? They're actively more evil than Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor is evil because he doesn't like the alien from outer space with superpowers. Not he doesn't like the illegal...
The alien from a country over.
Yeah, Lex Luthor's just like, hey, these people have super terrifying powers and no accountability. Lex Luthor is like, we need accountability and progressive social reforms. Because that's what he runs on when he becomes president in the DC universe. He runs on progressive social reforms. And sure, he's a huge proponent of technology. His technology is used to not put people out of work, to integrate them better with work, to support them in social manners. And also it's shown multiple times, even when he's the evil guy, sure, he does evil things, but most often than not, he still is donating massive amounts of money to big issues because he is Lex Luthor. Even evil Lex Luthor is a humanitarian. He just has problems with the authoritarian power that is Superman. Because Superman does have an authoritarian power. He just exists and you kind of live in fear of him. Sure, most people don't because they're good people, but the threat of Superman should not be a threat just out there to exist and being waved around. It's like, hey, you do something bad, here's Superman.
Lex Luthor is kind of the extreme of the all cops are bastards movement.
Yeah.
Where Superman's not a cop, not specifically a cop.
Yeah, now there's the Justice League, but
they are extrajudicial policing powers.
Yes.
And Lex Luthor says nobody should have to live in fear of an extrajudicial police power that has nothing enforcing authority over them.
Yeah, sure. If in an instance, Lex Luthor makes his own superhero team at a point.
Mm-hmm.
People don't know he's the one backing it for a while. And yes, he has evil plans to take down the Justice League. His plans aren't really evil. Basically, everything his superhero team does is publicly known. It's just hey, here's this super secret thing we did. Here are the public records of it. Here's what happened. Here's, this person did something wrong. Here's their punishment. He's just ultra clear about it. There's just also the hidden side of it where it's no, you're also going to supersede the Justice League and destroy their credibility so I can get rid of them. But that's not technically evil. It's only evil because Lex Luthor has been the established bad guy.
Because the Justice League has no accountability.
Yeah, and sure, he's technically manipulating the young people he has on a superhero team because they would be against that traditionally because they've been raised to be taught those people are heroes, but also... as far as from a moralist perspective goes, nothing about it is really wrong other than the fact that Lex kind of does it in a scummy manner, but none of the results are really bad.
Basically, those two vastly different viewpoints on Superman comics, one where Superman would be supportive of MAGA and the other where Lex Luthor is the equivalent of MAGA are both hilariously wrong because both those characters are better. Even the supposed supervillain is better than the real world we're dealing with.
I honestly can't think of any really big DC villains and or heroes that would be falling in either of those camps. Even the villains don't. Like, there's a few. Most of them are Wonder Woman villains, because some of her classic villains are misogynistic pieces of shit, because it's almost like they recognize that, hey, those are bad people, they shall be our villains. But, like, overall, even most Marvel or DC villains, actually, that I can think of, aren't that horrible. Like, I mean, on a political platform.
There is a mass amount of X-Men villains who are.
Yes. X-Men is, like, the only one I can really think of super well with that.
But, no, like, I just found it funny that, like, I saw those two takes almost back to back, and I've seen them from various different people at this point.
Yeah.
And being the nerd that I am, I was like, well, you're both wrong.
Yeah.
And actually, it hurts me deep inside when people are like, oh, Lex Luthor would be a MAGA. Elon Musk is basically Lex Luthor, and it's like...
You know, I take that back. So, I originally actually meant to say Marvel, I just had the wrong comic, and I just rolled with it. Marvel, especially because of X-Men, definitely does have those. And now I'm thinking about it, DC probably has a few, like, some incarnations of Brother Blood and Hive are kind of like that.
Well, yeah, Brother Blood from the Arrowverse is definitively that.
Yes, but, like, in the comics, it's not really a political thing. It's more of a, yo, I'm gonna just lead the world evil villain type of thing. Not like, I'm particularly targeting these people because I don't like them. It's just like...
The Court of Owls would fall in line with...
Yes, the Court of Owls does, because, well, and even then, in the context of how we've been shown the Court of Owls, they don't seem to have racist or misogynistic tendencies. It's just a, hey, we're going to be rich and we're going to just keep being rich and we're going to oppress the people who don't have money.
And actively destroy a middle class to make us wealthier and other people poor, which is very Republican. And it's like, sorry that this episode's become a politics cast, but you know, the election was last week. So I said that it actively hurts me when people compare Lex Luthor to like Elon Musk and other MAGA people. And it's because Lex Luthor in general, like, he is sometimes just a
megalomaniacal piece of shit.
But oftentimes, he's a much deeper character than that, where, like, he actively wants what's best for humanity. He's very much, in a lot of ways, a DC equivalent to Doom in like, that way, where they're both people who want the best for humanity.
He just doesn't happen to think the best is who we call our good guys.
Well,
which, to be fair, in a lot of circumstances, they bring a lot of problems, which is one of the things Lex is always saying.
And, I mean, even besides that, most versions of Lex Luthor would be okay with Superman being Superman if there was an active, efficient way to deal with Superman if he ever, like, went all injustice.
I mean, hell, there's also been so many times that Lex Luthor has been the good guy, or even not been, when straight up been a good guy, has been like, oh, here's this super big existential threat to all of humanity. The Justice League are fighting it? Oh, they need help. I have helped the Justice League for this instance because that is more important than me not liking Superman.
Yeah. It's just actively terrible when supervillains are actually better people than the current people running your country.
Or slated to run your country.
Yeah, well, I mean, both are true.
Oh, yeah.
Both are true. So, steering the discourse away from politics, I did restart Breaking Bad for like the third time.
Yeah, how's it been?
Well, importantly, before we get into how it's been, unlike when I say I restarted Mistborn, I've never finished Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
I think the furthest I've got into Breaking Bad is Gus dying.
Sounds right.
Sorry, spoilers on like a decade and a half old show at this point.
Yeah.
I don't even know if Gus dies. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure he does, though.
I think so.
But I'm halfway through season 3, which means I have 2.5 seasons left to go. It's good.
Overhyped?
Yeah. Like, it's fine. The show is good. It is good. It's not even like the thing where multiple college friends told me Doctor Who is the best show ever.
Yeah.
And like, together the way they talked about it made it sound like literally the best TV ever made. And I was let down, especially by the first season of New Who because of that. It's more like, I see why everybody likes the show. Being Human's better.
Agreed.
The Wire's better. The Rookie is better. Castle is better.
God, I love Castle, though.
Eureka, from what I've seen, is better. Like,
I would like to say Firefly is better, but we all know it's not.
Firefly is better. Firefly just wouldn't have been good if it got a season 2.
Yeah.
Having only one season is what makes Firefly good.
Yeah.
it's a wild, wild fact that Firefly would have dropped off a hill super fast if they had gotten a
If
season
Joss Whedon
2.
had gotten to season 2, yeah.
But because it has one season, it gets to be an unmarred sci-fi.
It also makes for one of the best episodes in Castle.
Yeah, well,
When Nate Fillion just dresses as Mal Reynolds.
fuck. Talking about that, Supernatural might be better than Breaking Bad until the end of like season 4 or 5.
Yeah, like...
Which, to be fair, Breaking Bad only has 5 seasons.
Fair.
If we compare episode to episode, if we go head to head, Supernatural might be better. But probably just my opinion. I understand people love Breaking Bad a lot.
Yeah, they do. I think it's fine.
It's fine. I'm enjoying it. It's not my favorite.
I mean, it was really nice, especially when it came out, for people to see Bryan Cranston's actual, like, range.
Oh, yeah, that...
Because people only fucking knew him from Malcolm in the Middle, which was disappointing, because he had other works, and he was good in those as well.
Yeah.
But... And I do completely understand why it was kind of the beginning of AMC blowing up as, like, a premier television, like, channel that people cared about. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think it was Breaking Bad that really started AMC being a known, like, hey, if you want to watch a good show, go to AMC. Because you had Breaking Bad, and then you had The Walking Dead, and then you had Mad Men, and then Better Call Saul, and I think they've had some other things people really cared about that I don't care or know about.
Was Mad Men AMC?
Mad Men was AMC, I believe.
I like Mad Men. Good show.
I might be wrong, but I could have sworn Mad Men
Speaking
was
of,
AMC.
Suits is better than Breaking Bad. Fight me.
I disagree with you so much. I do not like Suits.
White Collar is better than Breaking Bad. Fight me.
I would say I enjoy White Collar better. I don't think White Collar has a better overall story, but that is because it's more of an episodic show.
I'm gonna keep naming shows that are better. Chuck is better.
Oh, Chuck was not better. Chuck was definitely not better.
No, Chuck is schlocky and terrible.
Yeah, it is.
But I loved it. No, I do think
Kyle XY?
no.
No, I was just naming other bad sloggy things I know you like.
I never even got through the first season of Kyle XY.
I just remember when it came out, you were super hyped about it. I didn't watch a single fucking episode. I was like,
Now,
this doesn't
Phil
look
from the
interesting.
future. Phil from the future deserved more than the 2 seasons it got.
Did it only have 2 seasons?
It only had 2 seasons.
It did not deserve more than 2 seasons.
It wasn't better than Breaking Bad either.
You know what might be better than Breaking Bad, though?
What's that?
Gastronauts.
Oh, actually, fair. And also, we have a couple of animes that we've been watching, too.
Dropout's new show that premiered 4 days after our last in the Cockpit.
Yes.
Gastronauts, which is a cooking show on Dropout, and I fucking love it.
It might be the best cooking show to not have Gordon Ramsay on it.
So the premise is they get in 3 professional chefs who compete in a contest, and they have 3 rounds of cooking. And each round is based around a prompt from one of the judges. The judges are Dropout personalities, so we get dumb fucking prompts that are delightful to watch chefs try to fucking figure out how to do. Like, we've had heaviest. Not as in like, oh, it doesn't make me feel heavy, but as in like, legitimately, the heaviest dish.
Oh.
We've had horniest. Just what's the horniest dish? No clarification from there.
Make a better version of a banana peel, the challenge.
Yeah. Like, there's just been some weird challenges, and watching chefs try to figure it out is super neat. And then, obviously, the comedy of it's fantastic, because you have 3 fantastic comedians up there. Well, 4, because we also have our host, who is also amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it's just a good time.
Yeah.
It's a half-hour cooking show, but it's delightful.
And according to multiple personalities from Dropout, it is now the best show on Dropout.
They get food, and they get to do improv comedy. Like, yeah.
100%. Other than that, we have both been watching 2 new anime for this season, Dawn the Dawn and Blue Box.
Blue Box, which you, if you've listened to the podcast, you've heard about on multiple occasions from Josh.
There's too many animes called Blue, okay?
Lamenting that he couldn't find Blue Box. Well, first, talking about how he read Blue Box and he really liked it. And then being like, oh, I think it's an anime. And then being like, nope, that's Blue period. And then be like, oh, me being like, do you mean Blue Lock? And you being like, no. And then we watch Blue Lock and we're both like, that's bad. And then you being extremely happy that Blue Lock has an anime now.
It does, and it's good.
It's fine.
I like the manga, so I'm not a good judge.
The anime is good.
Blue Box, the manga, was the only thing that had me like actively logging into the Shonen Jump app on a regular basis for a while, because there just wasn't new manga on Shonen Jump that like
Caught your attention?
Caught my attention like Blue Box did. Like there's a lot of good shonens going on, but like I don't always want to read shonen.
I'm honestly not a huge shonen fan, especially if I'm reading it.
Also, shonen just tends to be better as an anime.
Yeah, like if I'm going to enjoy shonen, it's probably going to be from anime, because most of them are really action heavy. So giving me some great animations, some amazing Sakuga is fantastic. Like you have some really amazing Sakuga done in panels, but like Sakuga does technically refer to animation, and like yeah, you have some really great studios out there that are really, really amazing at it. So it's always nice to see it in motion. Where like, dude, I can fucking enjoy the fuck out of a scene in a shoujo manga because it doesn't matter about it moving really. It's about the story.
Yeah. And
whereas some shonen I've watched, I don't give a shit about the story, but man, does it look cool.
Blue Box is technically a shonen.
But it is a very shoujo shonen.
Yeah, it's very slice of life. rom-com, but you should watch it. It's about a guy playing badminton who has a crush on a girl that's a year ahead of him who's playing basketball, and they now live together.
Because anime.
But as much as that, like, feels like it's going to be the setup for a bunch of pervy hijinks, it isn't.
Which is good. Especially given the fact that it is in Shonen Jump, so I wouldn't have expected to do that.
Like, honestly, that's probably why I like Blue Box so much, because, like, it's so obviously, like, you read the setup, and you go, okay, 100%.
I know this thing.
I know this thing, I know the tropes, and, well, it does have some of the tropes. It doesn't, like, dive into the perviness at all. Like, I find myself watching and going, man, I don't care if they ever end up together. I just want all these people to be friends, because they're all, like, really good people to each other.
Yeah. And then the other trope we watched is definitely shonen, Dawn to Dawn, which is about a girl who believes in ghosts and a boy who believes in UFOs and aliens. And then they get in an argument about how they both think the other one's isn't real, so they go to explore it. And the girl finds UFOs and the guy finds ghosts. He gets cursed by a ghost, she gets abducted by aliens and develops psychic powers. And now they gotta fight ghosts and solve curses.
Because he now has ghost powers and she now has psychic powers.
Yep. All the while, he's just made his first friend. She's made friends with someone who genuinely cares about the interests she has, unlike other friends she believes wouldn't, so she hasn't talked to them about it. So they're both going to be themselves around each other. Obviously going to, at some point, evolve into somewhat of a romantic will they, won't they plot. Technically, I guess you could say it already has, but it doesn't feel very much that way. It just feels like people learning to be friends with each other right now.
It's also by Science Saru.
Yes, so its animation is amazing.
And, like, it has animation rules that, like, I read about online after the first couple episodes.
Yep.
But, like, you can come to understand the rules of the animation in Dawn to Dawn just by watching.
Yeah, and it doesn't even matter if you ever notice them or not, though. But they do add so much depth to it. And even if you're not actively clocking them, I guarantee it, they are making the show better for you.
And even if you're not clocking it, they will make the differences between encounters with aliens and ghosts feel different.
Mm-hmm.
All ghosts use warm color palettes.
Yep.
All aliens use cold color palettes.
Yep.
All alien stuff is done in CGI 3D rendering.
Mm-hmm.
All ghosts are hand-drawn, hand-animated.
Yep.
Which gives very different tones for the two things.
Yeah, I mean, and it takes the thing that a lot of people have complained about CG and anime for in a long time, which is the CG doesn't feel like it's part of the anime. Like, it feels like it's too noticeable, it sticks out too much. Whereas when you're playing as aliens, they are not of this world, they are literally from somewhere else. Like, as an idea, that alone, using that specifically for this foreign entity, this foreign presence, works really fucking well as just from an artistic standpoint.
When the alien traps them at Ayase's house, that alien, because it's an alien, is CG. And I'm sure if I went back and watched it now, I could tell it was CG.
Yeah.
But, like, while watching it, I never clocked that it was CG.
Well, they also do add effect layers over the CG.
Mm.
It is noticeable. So they do have some more hand-drawn elements as textured for it. But I did notice it. It just was so well blended in and worked so well, especially because we were using so much of it for action shots, that the only time it really stood out to me, and it didn't even bother me because the way we were using the palette and the texture of it, was when it first was, like, standing there. My brain went, that has a rim lighting on it that doesn't hit exactly the same way. Like, it wasn't integrated poorly like you see in some things.
Also, Dawn to Dawn has one of the best opening themes.
Well, yeah, it's by Creepy Nuts, and Creepy Nuts they just make bangers.
Did they do Mashal?
They did Mashals. They did Bling Bong Bong Born.
Yeah. So
Bling Bang Born.
I haven't watched Mashal yet, but the theme song is like my biggest draw to watch.
Mashal's fine. I read it before ever watching it. I would argue it's something that's better to be read because it's honestly like the same way I feel about One Punch Man, which is
it's a gag. It's a gag more than it's
the fights are well animated, but they're not super long most of the time, and it is kind of just ran as a gag. So and then it's kind of just like bland. The main character's a straight man, doesn't get things, which is fine, but it does kind of make for a slower pace of a show.
Fair enough.
So if you're letting something faster paced, it has a few episodes that are quite fast paced, but more often than not, it's kind of a slower tempo. I
think if you like sports or like rom-com style animes, Blue Box is something that you should look into. But I think if you are a fan of shonen anime in general, Dawn to Dawn might be the best shonen going right now this season.
I would probably agree with that.
Like, Dawn to Dawn feels like the same type of can't miss as Jujutsu Kaisen was when it first aired. Where it's like
I missed it.
Where it's the must-watch shonen of the season.
I just couldn't get into Jujutsu Kaisen, and it was purely my own stuff. It just reminded me of too many other things, and my brain went, I can't be bothered to care.
Jujutsu Kaisen reminded me of too many things, so I went, ooh, I like this a lot already.
Yeah, my brain went, I don't know, man. It feels like Bleach.
It's very heavily inspired by
Blue
Bleach.
Exorcist somehow.
I can see that.
And I get a tiny bit of Naruto vibes.
I can see that too.
And I'm not vibing it. I liked one of those 3 shows.
The Squad has got a very
Team 7-ish vibe.
Team 7 vibe,
Mm-hmm.
but it is very heavily inspired by Bleach.
Oh, yeah. You can definitely tell from, like, their powers.
But
and, like, some of the ghost designs.
JJK
Spirit designs.
was so good that when I finished it, I immediately went and read all of it.
The bad manga translation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, watch Don to Don. In fact, even if you don't like anime, watch Don to Don.
Anime is not a genre. It's a medium. Go fuck yourself.
Did you see where the internet was, like, had a negative backlash to the first episode of Don to Don?
No, I did not.
So apparently, Ayase's abduction
Yeah.
was too much for some people.
Okay.
And I can see that.
Yeah, fair.
Like, it's sexual assault.
Mhm.
It's heavily implied that it's leading to rape.
Mhm.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And I get why that would make people uncomfortable. Like, people are talking about the whole show being garbage because of that scene. And it's like, man, are we living in the same world that had Goblin Slayer come out and become, like, a super popular anime?
Yeah.
Like, this isn't even the same, like, realm.
Also, like, I get that what happened to Yase is really fucked up. It is. But also, if in that argument, they're also mentioning that Kin also gets sexually harassed.
Mhm.
Like, you're reading the vibe wrong here. They're, in the context of the first episode, they are both sexual assault victims.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I know. But, like, nobody talked about Kin. Like,
Of course not.
Nobody online was talking about Kin. It was all about Ayase.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Basically, what I'm saying is trigger warning for the first episode.
Yeah.
Still, watch Don to Don. It's very good. And it's a shonen centered around a love story, which doesn't happen in the way that Don to Don is happening. Like,
Yeah.
we don't get love stories where both love interests are
Main character.
main characters, are viewpoint characters. That doesn't
Especially not
happen.
in action shonen.
That doesn't happen in shonen.
Especially in action shonen.
Exactly. Like, watch Don to Don. Support it. Support something new and different. And also, it has the best opening theme song in a really long time.
It's so fucking good.
Uh,
Now, if only it had a closing on level as JJK's original closing.
we're on level with
Rubihachi's
Robihachi.
Indian
God,
song? Hell yeah, boy.
I love that theme song. I listen to it so much still. Anything else, Justice? I have one more thing, but
I've played some Peggle. It's
Oh.
a fine little roguelike.
yeah?
Honestly, the roguelike part is my least favorite part of it. I just like Peggle. And I beat Peggle, so I needed a new Peggle game.
I played,
And I didn't want to have to pay for Peggle 2, and someone else in my Steam family already bought Pegglin, so.
what's Pachinko? Okay.
Billionaire?
Billionaire, yeah. I played Billionaire's demo. It's very fun.
I wasn't a fan of it.
It's a Pachinko roguelike.
Mhm.
It's fun in a mindless manner. Like, it's a very good game to play when you're watching something or doing something else.
I don't know if you've noticed, I don't tend to do that when I play games. Not a fan of it.
Otherwise, I have refallen into the Hades 2 hole.
What? No. I never would have thought you capable of that.
I love Hades 2.
What? No.
It might be my favorite game.
I would say crazy, but I know a lot of people of Hades, so.
Also, though, Pokemon released a new mobile game.
Yes.
Pokemon Pocket TCG.
Pokemon Go to the polls. Worst fucking slogan ever.
It wasn't even a slogan. It was
I
just,
know. It was a meme, but it was bad.
but it's essentially the Pokemon TCG, but it's the game itself has been simplified for mobile to make the game shorter and faster and decks easier to build. And other than that, it's a gacha card collector.
I'm shaking my head. Really, man? Gotcha.
I mean, aren't all card games basically gachas?
Yeah, I don't play card games.
That's fair, you don't. I love card games.
I like some card games.
Do you? Poker doesn't count here, Justice. Balatro barely counts here, Justice.
I like sevens. I like euchre. I like blackjack. I like hearts.
Okay, so
I like solitaire.
I was talking about TCGs, honestly. I was talking about TCGs, trading card games.
I like some deck builders.
Yeah, which ones?
Genesis.
Genesis is very good.
I don't mind ELO. It's just a hassle to set up.
It is a hassle to set up.
I like For the Queen.
The deck builder, it's...
No, but it is a card game.
No, it's not.
It uses cards. It's its main mechanic.
Fuck you. You like Star Realms or Hero Realms?
Not particularly.
Star Realms.
It's too much deck building. I don't mind Supervillain. I don't like the expansions. The expansions add too much.
In general, you don't like TCGs. Like, that's what we were getting at.
I didn't mind Digimon.
You would mind Digimon if you were actively keeping up with Digimon.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But, like, as far as gameplay goes, I actually kind of enjoyed the Digimon game.
It's fair. Digimon's a good game.
I have fond memories of Battle Spirits. I could keep up with that. It's dead.
No, it's not.
Damn it.
It came back to life 2-3 years ago. It was at Gen Con. It's dead.
Depressing.
No, it's not, Justice. In fact, the Battle Spirits decks we have no longer work because they changed the back and they've reformatted the entire game.
Okay, so OG Battle Spirits. I'm a fan of it. I can keep up with that.
But Battle Spirits is not dead.
There's another one that I'm thinking of that I don't mind. Fuck. I played like 2 games of it.
Oh, Netrunner.
I like the Netrunner card game.
That's not TCG either.
I mean, technically,
no,
I can trade my cards.
It's an LCG.
I know. TCGs are bad.
You ever play the Chaotix TCG?
I did. We played it together.
I love that one.
It was fine.
I love that game. We were at the local card shop when I was in college, me and a friend. And there was just a box of Chaotix cards sitting behind the shelf.
Yeah.
Like, not even like for sale, had no price tag or anything. Just like a bunch of Chaotix stuff that they would like set in a tote.
Yeah.
He had like extra credit left after trading some stuff. And he's like, how much do you guys want for that? And they're like, $25.
Fair.
So he got like 400 plus Chaotix cards.
Nice.
Yeah, very, very fun. We had a lot of fun just building Chaotix decks and like bashing them against each other for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah,
I'm
just not a huge TCG fan.
I know you're not.
They're not very interesting to me.
I love TCGs.
Especially because like all the popular TCGs for the most part kind of just use the same mechanics but call themselves different games.
It's not true. But
it's more true than you want it to be.
So Lorcana, from what I understand, is very similar to Magic. They're very similar in mechanics. I can't actually speak to that. I've never played Lorcana.
Yeah.
What I can tell you is that Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Magic are all vastly different games.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh's dead. I don't care what anyone ever tries to tell me. Yu-Gi-Oh's dead.
It's one of the 4 most popular TCGs in America.
Yeah, it's not a functional game. I've watched people play it. It's not functional.
It used to be one of the 3 most popular TCGs in America.
Yeah.
But then Lorcana.
Yeah, I don't care what people try to tell me, though. Yu-Gi-Oh is dead. Like, it is not a functional game. It is just people unwilling to let the corpse die.
I don't know what to tell you. I haven't kept up with Yu-Gi-Oh in a long time, but it's still actively alive and has an active player base.
It's not healthy.
Yeah. So Pokemon TCG, I would talk more about Pokemon TCG, but most of the words I would say wouldn't make sense. I did crack my first gold crown today.
That's a Magic card.
No, no, it's not.
I know it's not. I was just making a joke because it sounds like a dumb Magic card.
There's 3 crown rares per set,
and
a gold crown is a crown rare with a gold background.
Neat.
Indeed.
I was like, I hate the rarity that TCGs make. Actually, I don't think. I know I hate forced rarity.
I hate Pokemon's rarity system.
I just hate rarity systems.
That's why you like Netrunner.
Yeah.
Even though they also had an enforced rarity system.
Yeah, kind of.
Because some sets would be printed with 4s of basic cards, and then like rares would have ones used by multiples of the set.
I mean, technically the issue that appears with Netrunner isn't technically from the creation of the game, it's from the freeform player base of the game, which is like, hey, you can just, because the game very much emphasizes playing with the LCG packs that they make and not really changing anything, because it's made to be balanced that way, but then they're like, we guess you can just like make your own deck.
You were always supposed to make your own decks.
Yeah.
Because even though they'd release packs, most packs wouldn't be like enough cards for a deck.
But they released several. They're like, hey, buy these ones. These all work pretty well together. Was the idea. It was more of a buy and assemble. We have piecemealed this deck for you so we can make more money out of it.
Yeah, which is why you need to buy 4 of some packs to get 4 copies of a card for your deck.
Yeah.
I think it's 4. I haven't played Netrunner in so long. It might be 3.
Yeah. Like, it has a force rarity issue, but it's not nearly as bad. The big issue is that there's no secondary market, and I don't feel like spending $100 on the same set repeatedly.
Fair. I'm out of topics, though. Pokemon was my last one. I cracked a Gold Crown Mewtwo EX today. The other 2 Gold Crowns are Charizard EX and Pikachu EX. I don't know what else to say. I'm out of topics.
It's crazy to me that Nintendo and Pokemon, and to some degree Xbox, stick so hard to like a flagship character for so long, to a point that to me it feels disingenuous. That's my final bit.
What do you mean by Microsoft?
They really try to stick to Halo.
I mean,
they forgot about it for a while, and they're like, Halo is our only good thing we ever did. So, like, Xbox tried to get away from it, but like they've gone back to it because they realized they're not very successful.
So I think the thing to remember is, and you can actually actively see the divide if you think about it. Sega has a mascot character. Nintendo has a mascot character.
Sega has one character.
Sega has a mascot character.
They only have one character.
Nintendo has a mascot character. Pokemon Company has a mascot character. What do all these companies have in common?
No idea.
They're Japanese game companies. Japan has a large culture
they have
around
a big
mascots.
thing with mascots. I'm aware.
It is weird. It is funny that Sony never really had a mascot character.
Yeah, I know.
But like, it's not strange to me that like Microsoft never had one. Really.
Yeah. No, I'm aware. I'm just, it feels weird to stick to some of these for so long.
It is a weird final thought to have.
Well, I was just thinking about, like, oh, of course, the 3 Golden Crowns are Pikachu, Charizard, and Mewtwo.
Yeah, they're also the 3 best decks right now.
Yeah. It's just crazy to me, especially in the context of, like, the shows and the trading card game where, like, some of these early Pokemon, which, I mean, arguably from a setting standpoint implies that they don't power scale their Pokemon, but obviously they do with the creation of things. But it just feels weird to me.
Well, one of the important things to, at least in regards to Pokemon Pocket TCG, one of the important things to recognize is this first set is primarily just Gen 1.
Yeah, fair enough.
There are some others like Pyukumuku and Zebstrika. Like there's non-Gen 1 Pokemon, but it is primarily Gen 1. There's 220 something cards in the first set.
Yeah.
All 151 Pokemon from Gen 1 are there.
Fair enough.
And then that also counts for gym leaders. So like that's 8 more cards. So like 50 cards out of the 220 card set are non-Gen 1 Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're going to pick 3, like, big guys from Gen 1...
I get it. I'm just saying it feels weird. Like, it's basically almost always those 3.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. But I think that's going to be the end of this in the cockpit. There was one thing I wanted to talk about in regards to our call to action that we normally do. We are in the process of actively moving away from Twitter. Twitter has become an honest-to-God hellscape with...
It's just porn and MAGA.
I don't see porn on my Twitter, but I'll believe you.
I mean, that's just everything I've heard. I don't use Twitter.
It is a lot of rage bait.
Oh, wait. And bots.
Rage bait, bots, and maggots. And honestly, Blue Sky is so much more refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on Blue Sky for the last week now actively. And I have to tell you, it's so much nicer. There's no forced rage machine going on.
Yeah.
There's no ads in
Yet.
post. But yeah, so while we will continue to have our Twitter in our links on our website, we will no longer be promoting our Twitter on here. We will no longer be promoting our Twitter at the end of episodes, and we will no longer be posting to our Twitter account.
Not that we did much anyways.
In general, like, I might still update it occasionally. It's just unlikely to be posted to regularly. Whereas Blue Sky, we're going to post episodes to regularly and attempt to actually actively engage on that website.
Josh will.
I mean, unfortunately, it's me. But anyways,
I just forget social media exists.
Anyways, that brings us to the end of the episode. And if you want to contact us, there's a myriad of ways to do that.
You can email us at copilotsreview@gmail.com.
You can hit us up on Blue Sky at copilotsreview.
You can find a link to our email, our YouTube, our Discord, our Patreon, our Blue Sky by going to our website, copilotsreview.simplecast.com.
And until then, we'll see you on the next flight.